The CEO of Conde Nast just told his entire company to budget for zero Google traffic next year, not down 10 or 20%, zero. He runs Vogue, GQ, The New Yorker, and his exact words to his executives are to assume there's no search. Now, before every local SEO agency panics, this is not about your map pack rankings. They're still going to drive the calls. It's not going to change this quarter. What Lynch is describing is the death of informational search, the publisher side of the internet. The reason you need to pay attention is because the same structural shift is heading for local, just on a delay. It's called Ask Maps. It's already in trial, and it's the early warning shots. Roger Lynch sat down on the TVPN podcast and casually dropped what's coming. Let's watch it together.
It's really interesting. We did this for a board meeting about 6 months ago. Took a snapshot of search results from, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay.
And what you saw were, a few sponsored links, and then the 10 blue, the traditional search page.
Yep.
Do the same search term today. You get an AI overview.
Yep.
Then you get rows and rows and rows of commerce links.
Yep.
And then you get
I was saying
stuff.
somebody last week was saying, how is search revenue up? I was like, have you done a search recently?
Yeah.
I basically have to go to the second page to get an organic result.
So real quick right there, yes, search revenue is up. They keep setting records. A lot of people are saying similar to this, oh, that's because Google is making it harder and harder to avoid clicking on their ads. That's part of it. But the thing that a lot of pieces about the search revenue going up are missing is that search volume is actually also going up. Search volume is higher than it's ever been. All of the people who say no one uses Google anymore, it's all ChatGPT, they're wrong. Search volume is at record high levels, even in the midst of ChatGPT. What it looks like happening is people are searching for things on ChatGPT, then verifying with Google. So part of the reason search revenue is up is because Google is driving more clicks, more eyeballs to its ads. Another part is that search traffic is also setting records.
It's been good for Google.
It's been great.
Yeah.
Great
But
for business.
if you're a publisher, you've gone
crammed
to the
down.
second page.
Okay.
So if you had a business that relied on that
Yep.
to arbitrage that traffic to sell whatever, that business got very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So, look, the changes in search traffic have certainly impacted our business, but not to the point that we haven't been able to grow our revenues and grow our profitability.
Yeah.
But it's a headwind.
Yeah.
But last year, each of the last 3 years, we would do our budgets and we'd put some forecasts in of search traffic declining. Why? Just because we'd seen the pattern of algorithm changes, and generally those algorithm changes were negative. They had negative impacts.
One of the reasons for that, coming from the CEO of Conde Nast, is a lot of those algorithm updates were to try to provide a way for publishers who weren't Conde Nast to get more traffic. There was a time, 10 years ago or so, that the vast majority of search traffic went to a handful of companies, and one of those companies was Conde Nast because of the major brands that they owned, and brand authority, domain authority was so powerful that Google was rewarding them with a massive amount of traffic. And Google had been backing off of that over the years. That's what he's talking about from his perspective.
Forecast it to be down, and then every year it was down more than we forecast.
Yeah.
So last year I told our teams, assume there's no search. You have to have your businesses planned as if search is zero. We don't expect it to be zero,
Yeah.
but we
Don't bank on it.
We expect it to be a single-digit percentage of our traffic, very low. So we started working on plans for each of our brands around that. And some of the brands we looked at said, they don't really have a good plan for that.
Yeah.
So we're going to reprioritize on the ones that do. And but if you don't have those paths forward, and if you don't have really strong authoritative brands or brands that have very strong niche in certain areas or direct audiences, then you're just going to be fighting that all the way down.
So that is the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar media empire telling his teams to plan as if Google doesn't exist, not as a worst-case scenario, but as their baseline. Okay, so here's where the local industry splits into two broken camps. On one side, you have agencies running around screaming that the AI overview is killing local search, plumbers are doomed, the map pack is over. We know that's wrong. If you actually look at the data, transactional local queries, things like plumber near me, dentist open now, roofer in my zip code, those still result in the map pack hit. Customers still tap to call. The map pack is the engine, and that engine still runs. Those agencies are selling panic to try to get business owners to buy AEO or whatever they're calling it. Okay, on the other side, you have agencies with their head in the sand. They look at their client's rank tracker, they see the map pack positions are stable, and they go, AI search is a meme, let's ignore it. That is also wrong, because the same structural shift that Lynch is describing, Google's AI deciding to name one source as the authority and burying everyone else, that's already creeping into local through Google's own Ask Maps. The map pack still works today, just like it did 10 years ago. Ask Maps is what local looks like in 12 months. Where people have conversations with Gemini, and Gemini recommends local businesses instead of the map pack. So Lynch isn't telling you informational search is dead. He's telling you that when Google's AI gets in the middle of a query and picks a winner, everyone else gets nothing. That's already happening on the publisher side. The trial run for local is happening right now. It started in March of 26. In the next clip, Lynch is going to show you exactly what happens to businesses that try to fake their way through this kind of shift with AI shortcuts instead of doing the real work.
How are you thinking about, I imagine that at almost all the publications, there's essentially no AI doing writing or creative work, but how have you had to confront anything on the advertising side? Like, I imagine if I flip over the back of the New Yorker, I'm sure I've seen a 3D render of a watch at some point. Will I be seeing an AI render of a watch?
Very.
Does that matter? Does anyone care?
It matters. Last June, there was an ad that was run in Vogue print magazine, and the ad used an AI-generated model.
That's right.
And it blew up.
Yeah.
But people who were angry, they were angry a little bit at the advertiser.
Yeah.
They're mostly angry at Vogue.
Interesting.
And I loved it. I thought it was fantastic because it reaffirmed what I had hoped was going to be the case, which is our audiences want human-generated content.
Yeah.
They want to know what they're reading and seeing is real and not AI-generated.
Interesting.
So to me, that was a really important indicator of, frankly, our future, that our future strategy about using AI in many, many places to drive efficiency, to reach audiences faster, speed up the velocity of what we do, all to enable us to invest more in human-generated content.
The important part that Lynch mentioned is that the readers weren't angry at the advertiser, they were angry at Vogue. The trust violation was Vogue's. And he said he loved it because it confirmed what his entire business strategy is built around. Now, Lynch is, of course, talking here about a print magazine ad, but the lesson maps directly on how AI is being used in local SEO right now. And really, you have a couple of problems with this. Agencies or business owners basically saying that all AI content is slop. You should never touch it. You should never use it. Every word on your website needs to be hand typed. You need to run AI verification scans on all the content because Google is going to penalize you. And that's clearly wrong. Google doesn't care if AI helped you write content. Google doesn't care if AI wrote all of the content. What Google cares about is that the content reflects a real business with real services and a real geography. Now, opposing that, you have groups of people that are spinning up 5,000 AI city pages overnight. They give a prompt to some Claude-coded tool plugged into OpenAI's API. They publish all of it to WordPress and wonder why their visibility tanked. No human craft behind it, no actual business behind it, not even bothering to read or fact check the content. A press of a button and 5,000 pages of slop on the website. That is the local version of that Vogue ad. AI output dressed to look like a real business when there's nothing actually behind it. Now, what actually works, the play, is a real local business defining the entity framework, the actual services they offer, the actual geographies they serve, the actual Google business profile categories they're aligned to, the actual context of who they are, and using AI to execute that at scale. The strategy, the content plan stays human. The output reflects the actual business, but you let AI do what AI is good at, which is volume and consistency, not invention. This is why my clients' websites don't read like AI slop. Not because we hide the AI or don't use the AI, but because a real business with real services and a real geography is defining every input. The AI just executes that framework. When customers land on it, it reads and sounds like a local business. Humans double check it, fact check it, proofread it. When Google's algorithm crawls it, it's a structurally coherent business presence that maps to a real entity, their Google business profile. The Vogue backlash wasn't anti-AI, it was anti-fake. And the local businesses that win over the next year are going to be the ones that use AI to execute a human strategy, not skip it. Let's watch the last clip.
I think we're gonna. I've said it. I think in this age of AI and this age of slop and sort of like ultra fast media, I believe that being a true journalist, being a reporter, being a writer is only gonna. I think it was always relatively high status, but I think it will even go up and up and up over
And become more valuable. It's
and it's more valuable. It's like we want people that are doing original journalism, fact finding. It's so essential, and then also, just spending the time. I mean, we're sort of a symptom of the internet, right? We make ultra fast content, right? I don't expect people to watch most of any of the shows from last week, right? Maybe there's some interviews that are sort of durable, but the majority of the commentary, it's comes and goes, right? We expect people to watch it in the 24, 48 hours that we create it. But there's so much content that I think about, sitting down on a Saturday where I'm like, well, maybe I want to read. I have limited time. Maybe I want to read something that somebody put 6 months into.
The status of real journalism is going up. Okay, that is what he said that's important there. Let's use that to think about local expertise and how that feeds local SEO over the next year. As the internet fills up with AI-generated slop, the value of real expertise goes up, not down. People start to pay more attention to real expertise, and more than just people, Google and AI systems start to pay attention to it. They'll trust it more. The floor is dropping out from generic AI slop content, but the ceiling is rising for operators who actually know what they're doing. And here's the part that probably hasn't been connected yet. Google just confirmed those words, that whole thesis, in writing. They recently published an official AI optimization guide just a few weeks ago, and the example they used in the guide for what good content looks like was, no joke here, it was a service page written by a plumber. Their exact line was that a first-hand review provides a unique perspective based on personal experience. That's Google telling you what Lynch told his board. The content their AI is reaching for is content written from inside operator experience, real services, real scenarios, real outcomes, not commodity blog posts, not AI-generated listicles, not 10 signs you need a new roof, 7 best ways to optimize your water heater for the winter. Operator-grounded content tied to real services the business actually performs. For local, that means real photos from real job sites. They beat AI-generated stock photos every single time. Real reviews on real platforms beats some sort of review velocity hacks. Real understanding of which neighborhoods you actually serve and what customers in those neighborhoods actually search for are going to beat a list of 200 city pages built off of a template every day of the week. Real citation footprints across platforms that matter beats 1,000 spammy directory submissions. Real entity coherence, where your Google business profile, your website, your reviews, your photos, your service area all tell the same story, will beat a disconnected mess all the time. Now that stuff used to be optional. The agencies that did it well had a slight edge. The agencies that didn't do it well could still get clients ranked with backlink schemes and keyword stuffing, but that window is closed. Lynch saw it from the publisher side. Google just spelled it out for local in their own documentation. AI didn't change the methodology. AI made the gap bigger between operators who do the work and operators who don't. And the people who get crushed in this environment are not local business owners. They're the agencies who spent a decade gaming keyword density and chasing backlinks without ever building the muscle to do real local entity work. And they're about to find out the methodology actually matters. The black box of SEO is gone. The methodology is visible, and the people who do the work are going to dominate their markets, while the people who try to skip it are going to disappear. So Lynch just walked through 3 things on a podcast about media, and every one of them maps onto exactly where local SEO is heading. Search is collapsing on the publisher side, and Ask Maps is the local version coming next. Fake AI gets rejected, and the local businesses winning are using AI to execute that human strategy. Real expertise rises while generic content collapses. Here's the part that you need to act on this week. Ask Maps is in trial right now. It's the new local algorithm that Google is building, and it's running on Gemini, which means the businesses Gemini decides to recommend over the next few weeks to months are going to be locked in as the default answers, while everyone else is still arguing about whether AI search matters for local. Now, I made a video that breaks down exactly how Ask Maps works, what attributes Gemini is reading to choose the businesses it names, and the exact moves that you really should be making right now while the trial window is still ongoing. If you wait until Ask Maps goes wide, you're going to show up to a fight that's already over. Go ahead, watch the video next.